The text messaging part of Grower's Edge is very handy because every day I'll receive a text that shows me where the best local market is.
That's what I like about Grower's Edge too. It gives me the information I want on my smartphone so that if I'm not in the office, I still get the information that I need.
Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV. My name's Cody Bills. Today is the 31st. It's a Friday for the weekly wrap-up. Let's turn over to the grain hedge trading platform and see where we closed off the day. Corn futures down 2.5 cents to 381.25 on the December contract. Soybeans down 10.5 cents to 939.5 on the November contract. And wheat in Chicago here able to add a little bit to its price, up 1 3/4 cents to 498.25 on the September contract. But still wheat unable to get over that $5 mark. Now we did get some bearish news out this morning for soybeans. China canceled 200,000 metric tons of old crop soybean sales. As soon as that news came out, we could really see some additional selling pressure entering the market. One of the reasons why soybeans was the leader to the downside today. When you look at corn as well as wheat, we did have relatively positive export sales. 72,000 metric tons of corn sold to Mexico this morning for 15-16 delivery. 36,000 metric tons of corn for 16-17 delivery. We saw a bunch of wheat sales here. 67,000 metric tons of HRW, 37,000 metric tons of white wheat, and 22,000 metric tons of spring wheat, all to unknown destinations. So there was kind of a flurry of export sales here this morning, all positive here for corn and wheat, but just very negative for soybeans. When you look at the charts, you'll notice it seems as though this week we are kind of consolidating. It'll be interesting to see whether or not we get a change in the weather, as I think any sort of change in the weather at this point is going to be what causes either a sharp rebound or some sell-off. Right now it looks as though there's not a whole lot of threatening weather. Corn for the most part is through the critical development time period, that pollination time period. Soybeans were moving into it. So if we get any sort of change in the weather here, it's most likely going to affect soybean prices more so than corn. But right now, when you look at soybeans, it almost has that feeling that it has tried to make a rebound, found resistance at the 100-day moving average, unable to get above it here 2 days in a row, and today we got cancellations. I wouldn't be surprised if we're making a run at the lows here that we saw back on Monday earlier on this week. Let's talk a little bit about the cash markets. These are the basis maps for this week showing the basis changes across the country. One thing you'll notice is that soybean basis decreased 2 cents here on the week. One place that we did see increases is on the eastern part of the grain belt. Indiana in particular, we did see increase in basis from Morristown. We saw increases in Claypool, Indiana. Both of those locations, major users of soybeans, were increasing their bids here. Morristown was up 15 cents on Wednesday to 120 over the November contract. Claypool was up 10 cents on Wednesday, up to 90 over the November contract. In general, what we're seeing here in the eastern part of the grain belt, particularly because it was so affected by the earlier rains, and there's concern about the development of that crop over there, we are seeing a little bit of a bidding war for old crop grain. Another thing that kind of helped dry up cash movement and cash sales from farmers is just simply the decline in prices. We've seen prices fall for the last couple of weeks, and that's really caused the farmer to think twice, not really too eager to go out there and price any old crop grain that's left in the bids or in the bins. When you look at corn basis, you'll notice we increased 2 cents on the week, so that was good to see. Ethanol plants were a bit firmer. River was mostly unchanged. So no major changes here, but of course the decline in futures prices has helped to increase basis here for corn in particular. Guys, that wraps up today's show. Actually, we have one last thing I want to talk about. Planalytics, they come out with their yield forecasts every couple of weeks. What they use is satellite imagery, basically measuring the greenness using the NDVI index, and they've been doing this for quite some time now. They come out with yield forecasts based on that NDVI index, and you'll notice that their current forecast was now increased for corn yield by 1 1.3 bushels per acre up to 166.7 bushels per acre. So over the last 2 weeks, there has been an improvement in their corn yield forecast simply because of the optimal growing conditions. For soybeans, the weather has been positive. That weather being positive has caused really just a halt in any sort of slide in yields. They left soybean yield unchanged here at 45.6 bushels per acre. That is above trend, but really we haven't seen an improvement even though weather has been optimal. So it's going to be interesting to see in the coming weeks whether or not we have optimal growing conditions here, particularly for soybeans as it moves into August and moves into that more critical time of the growing season. Guys, that wraps up today's show. If you have any questions about what we talked about today, please give the office a call. The number is 877-472-4607. I look forward to hearing from you. Take care.